What's up, Michigan? Hello, welcome to a brand new season of State Champs, Michigan's Poolside Podcast. My name is Lorne Plants. I'm the executive producer of the State Champs Sports Network. Joining us every week as co-host of the program is the web developer for the Michigan Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. He's also a coach at Bloomfield Hills High School. He is David Zulkiewski. Great to see you. Did you have a great family holiday, my friend?
We did. It was nice, and I missed the pool deck, but it's great to be at home with the kids, and nice to be back with you and getting ready for boys season.
Absolutely. All right. Each week, we're going to try and have a guest on the program. Today, we're being joined by a MISCA board member. He's also the head boys swim coach at Dexter High School. Just in the last decade, he has guided the Dreadnoughts to 5 Division II state championships. So good on you, sir. He is Michael Mchugh. Thanks for coming on. It's great to talk with you.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, so on the show today, guys, Coach Mchugh is going to help us preview the boys' swim season. Now, even though we are already into the season, lots of season left to go with the state championship taking place about 8 weeks from now. We will get into all 3 divisions. What are the teams looking to make major waves? We'll talk about it. But first, Poolside is presented by Lawrence Technological University. LTU offers over 24 varsity sports. Athletic and academic scholarships are available. Recruit yourself at LTUathletics.com. Poolside Michigan is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association. The MHSAA is looking for officials. Great part-time pay. Stay in the game. Visit MHSAA.com for details. The Michigan Army National Guard, the official military outlet of the MHSAA. The physical therapy and sports medicine pros with the Detroit Medical Center. I encourage you to check out our Game Changers segments featuring terrific training tips and how to prevent injuries. Segments debut Wednesdays across the State Champs Network, including our State Champs TV YouTube page. Please give them a like if you see them. And if you're in pain or injured, for immediate care, go to dmc.org/Game Changers. Okay, we have more sponsors, but let's get into some conversation first. Dexter boys head coach Michael Mchugh is joining us today, along with David Zulkiewski, of course, who's here every week as we talk about who are the power programs right now here in the 2022 season. Mike, we'll start with Division One, Michael, I should say. We'll start with Division One. And as far as state titles go, from a team perspective, over the last decade, Division I started with Saline dominance. 4 straight titles. Then Brother Rice won 4 in a row from 2014 through 2017. Since then, Skyline, Holland West Ottawa, and last season Pioneer got back on top of the mountain for the first time since they won 3 of 5 state titles between 05 and 09. They have 16 state titles in total. Now, the defending 200 free state champ who broke the pool record at the state finals, Matthew Segal, has graduated. He also set the all-division, all-class finals record with a time of 53.26 in the breaststroke, as is the defending dive champ, Cole, I think it's Tremowan. He's also graduated. So the 200 IM state champ, Ryan Hume, is back. He was runner-up in the 500. Also back is the 3rd place finisher in the 500, Cameron Williston. So are the Pioneers still the cream of the crop?
Yeah, I think so. Ryan Hume is going to be a huge swimmer for them this year. I actually just went down to juniors recently and had some really great swims down there. I know he's trained real hard the last year since that state meet, and he's looking to win a couple events this year. Cam Wilson actually did graduate.
Oh, he did? Okay, all right.
He did. But they got Jack Wilkening coming back, who was the runner-up or the 3rd place in the 100 back.
Okay.
They've got a trio of guys who were all-state performers in at least one event with Alex Farmer, Robert Yang, and Tidor Jaworski. Steph Kurska does a nice job with those guys, getting them ready. And, they bring back almost double the points of anybody else from an individual standpoint.
Okay.
When I look at teams and try to size them up, I always look at individual points. Relays are going to be there for good teams. So it's just, where do you fare with the individual stuff? So Pioneer should be right up there at the top at the end of the year.
And David, I was going to say, when you talk about Ann Arbor Pioneer, girls and boys, I mean, their history of excellence is, almost unprecedented. The great thing about, and I'll mention some of this later, is that, the state championships, especially for swimming, date back to the 30s. So it's kind of cool here in the state. You can really take a respective, and look at how teams have done over the decades. Pioneer is one of these programs that is always just right there in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, they keep reloading year after year. You got a strong developmental program with summer club teams and middle school kids. And I mean, you look at, what's right there in downtown Ann Arbor with some great men's and women's programs at U of M. And these kids, I think they just come up, growing up in the pool. And like we saw with the girls, Michael touched on it a little bit, is the depth. You're going to get some teams that send 1 or 2 kids, but Pioneer's sending 3 or 4 per event. They're scoring a couple kids, maybe top 8. They get a couple kids 9th through 16th, and that starts building up that, those point totals for them and really separates them from everybody else.
Coach, we're talking Division I. Who else do you feel are strong contenders?
I was looking more at that this afternoon, and I think that battle 2 through 6 is going to be really fun to watch and see who develops there. You got Holland West Ottawa, led by Steve Boyer. You got Saline with Todd Brunty. Northville, Macomb, Dakota, Detroit Catholic Central, all are bringing back around the same amount of points, and it should be a battle. You got great swimmers like Kevin Moss, Matt Adnan, who were state champs or runner-ups, top 3 in both events. For Holland West Ottawa and Saline, Northville's led by Leonardo Simacchini, I think, who was all state in 2 events. Macomb, Dakota is a newer program on the rise, and doing a great job up there is John Simone, I believe, is their head coach.
Dave Smith's over there running the show now.
Okay.
But yeah, just to echo that real quick, Dave's a former teammate of mine from high school, and he's been building those kids up for a while. He's been coaching them in club, and then he took over the high school team a few years ago from John. And they did great. Where were they at sectionals here this fall? A few weeks back, and a couple of those boys just swam lights out, and they just look incredible right now. So should be a fun battle there 2 through 6. Only get 4 trophies, so 2 of them unfortunately are going to be left out.
That's right, and it's always so close. At the end, Saline took 3rd a year ago. That who you mentioned, Matt Adnan back. He was 3rd in the 200 free at state's runner-up in the backstroke, and Holland West Ottawa were the runners-up a year ago. Kevin Moss broke the pool record in the 50 free, had a time of 20:60. It's pretty quick, and they set a new D1 record in the 200 free relay with a time of 1:23:25. So those 2 programs again, Ann Arbor backyard when it comes to Saline. And yourselves in that respect. But we're talking Division I. And before we get into Division II, I must tell you that Poolside is also brought to you by the Detroit Athletic Club Foundation's Male and Female Athlete of the Year Awards. Are you an elite student athlete with good grades and represent leadership on your team and community? Recent boys swim nominees for the Male Athlete of the Year include in 2020 Okemos diver Hunter Hollenbeck. He was the 2021 Pac-12 Freshman Diver of the Year. So congratulations to Hunter. In 2019, speaking of the Moss family, Holland West Ottawa's Derrick Moss was a nominee for the DAC Athlete of the Year award. He's a junior at Alabama now. Derrick was he was an All-American in the 100 and 200 breaststroke in 2020 and 2021. He was an All-American in the 200 and 400 medley relay. So getting it done at the next level. Very impressive. And again, if you're listening or watching, you could be nominated, but you cannot be nominated unless you apply. So download the application at dacathleteoftheyear.com and send it in today. And finally, our last presenting sponsor, the Goodman Acker Law Firm. During the most difficult times of your life at Goodman Acker, you work with the same attorney and team the entire length of your case. They fight for you just like they would a member of their own family. Experienced, ethical, and aggressive. Mention you heard about Goodman Acker on State Champs, and they will provide you with a free assessment of your case. Goodman Acker, good decision. Call 1-800-TRUSTED. And we thank all of our partners in supporting the Poolside Podcast. Okay, back to the swim talk. We talked about Division I. Let's get into Division II. Birmingham Seaholm are the defending state champs. That was their 4th in 10 years, and they did it winning just one event, but they lost 12 seniors. Grosse Pointe South were the runners-up last year. UD Jesuit took 3rd, and the defending backstroke champ, I believe Drew Collins, is back. And Coach McHugh, you like both of those teams, correct?
I do. I think they're the top two. They've got a lot of returning points from both schools. Drew Collins, obviously defending champion in the 100 back, was a top 5 in the 200. For them, for Grosse Pointe South, you had Tucker Briggs, who was top 4 in 2 events. Kieran Rahman and Drew Vandeput were all states in a couple events each. I think the difference might be Grosse Pointe has a diver that was in that top 4 as well. Logan Hepner, I believe. I may be wrong on that, but I think that's who it was. But U of D counters that with a couple of really impactful freshmen. They got Evan Tack, who's sitting 4th in Division II right now in both the IM and the breaststroke, and Kieran Togg, who's top 10 in both the 50 and 100 for a freshman. Those usually big boy events. So having a freshman up there, obviously going to help your relays on both the 2 and 400, maybe the medley. But let's not count out Skyline. They're going to be right there as well, bringing back a lot of non-scoring participants who can take that next step.
When did they come down to Division? When did they come down to Division II?
I think 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the 2020 state meet, they were supposed to be D2.
Okay.
They fluctuated right there in the last couple of years. But yeah, Mojo Moret over there is doing a great job with them, as is Drew Edson at U of D and John Photo at Grosse Pointe South. So Mojo's got quite a bit coming back with Ben Kernawanen and Evan McKelvey. Not quite the impact freshman that U of D has, but they could be right there at the end too. So it should be a fun battle. I think it's the one division that we just don't know what's going to happen. You look at D1 with Pioneer. I think pretty much everybody knows that they're probably going to walk away with the D1 title. It could be any of those three teams in Division II. It's going to be fun to watch.
And Dave, since it's in your area, obviously Seaholm are the defending champs, but they've got to obviously build it back. They lost a lot. See what kind of depth they have. But Groves is another program that is always right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seaholm's also working with a brand new coach. Tom Wiley stepped away to take over a club team on the west side of the country, and in steps Carl Hodgson, who just led the girls to a state title this November. Lot of changes over there, different coaching approaches and philosophies. So you got great swimmers there. So I know those Seaholm boys are going to do some great things, but they're working with new leadership there, so it'll be interesting. And Ricky, he's getting those boys the Groves boys ready to go over there. They're looking at a pretty tough meet schedule. I was just talking to him the other day. They're rolling with 3 meets in 5 days with some of these COVID restrictions and stuff, and he can't reschedule. So they're going a Tuesday, a Thursday, and then a Saturday invite in some big time competition there. So, he definitely has some great swims. Michael outlined some great stuff here. Angus McDonald, he broke some pool records over at Bloomfield last year. Jackson Zako, outstanding sprinter in the 50 and the 100. And then, their relays are going to be tough, and they got some good freshmen on those relays as well. So you get all 3 of those relays scoring, and Groves is going to be a force, right in there, in the top 10. So.
And Coach McHugh, your team, Dexter's in Division II. So it was Clayton Kennard, right? He graduated. Yeah. He won the 200 free last year. How are your Dreadnoughts looking in 22?
We're a little younger. Last year we were led by 3 seniors that actually scored all of our individual points in swimming. We returned a diver named Cole Warren, who was 3rd last year. I know he's looking to take that next step and get to the top step of the podium. But we're building. We got a lot of young guys who I think can take that next step. We had 5 guys at the state meet last year that didn't score. So we're gonna try and get back in that top 10 mix. We're not quite there yet, but we're hoping to get there.
Yeah, it's so competitive, no question about it. Let's move on to Division III, fellas. Let's talk about depth. East Grand Rapids won their first title since 2013, despite not winning a single event. They have 26 state titles in boys swimming dating back 73 years, where they won every state crown in the Class BCD field from 1948 through 1962. So that's 14 straight if you do the math, which is amazing. And you can make an argument that they, probably would have won if in the 2020 COVID season. I know they were very disappointed they didn't get a chance to finish that out. And we all have to remember that season was canceled, I believe, if I remember right, on the day of the state meet. So not to get off on a tangent, but Michael, talk about just what you remember about that time, how devastating that was for your team.
It was an emotional day. We were traveling out to Holland on that Thursday, and I had heard some rumblings that our school district was going to shut down for a couple weeks, and I was just hoping to get to the meet and get something in. And as we kept getting closer, they kept making more restrictions. And I remember getting off the exit in Holland and reading a tweet that said the state meets have been canceled. Pulled up to the hotel, had one of my senior captains sitting outside, crying on the bench, and it was a hard couple hours there. Yeah. Thankfully, we got a great friend out at the Hamilton School District with Eric Talsma, who allowed us to get into his pool and put our suits on and try to go fast. I know that we knew the times didn't count for anything, but we made the trip. We were going to stay the night, and we just wanted to give it a try. And the thing I'm most proud of from that time with my guys is how they came together. They spent the whole night together. We had dinner together. They enjoyed some Shamrock shakes in the hot tub, and then watched a movie. So my guys came together, supported each other, got up, had breakfast together, and then said goodbye for a while. We didn't see each other again until summer when we all got together outside.
Yeah, David, it's a crazy time. I know that I'm sure you could share some stories as well. But EGR, the favorite again this year?
Yeah, you got to think so. Again, they're kind of like Pioneer. They're bringing back double what everybody else is individually. Logan McCahill was third in 2 events last year. Kenny Pontius was all state in 2. Carter Kegel was all state in 2. They're fast. They're deep. They always have divers, so they're always going to add those bonus points there. I don't think anybody can catch them, but it's swimming. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and you look at a team like Spring Lake. They seem to be coming up the last few years. Cam Peel, did some damage a few years ago to that 50 free record, and it sparked some interest there, right? And that team continues to grow. I think the one thing in D3 you see a lot of is small schools that maybe you don't hear of a lot, and they're going to come with 1 or 2 athletes, maybe a good relay, and all of a sudden they're going to be in top 10. We know Hamilton's going to do some good stuff, and certainly Dan Hike at Milan is going to bring some great athletes at the end. But every year seems like little surprises, sprinkling of a couple teams here or there, but they're fast and they'll do some great stuff.
Yeah, Andy Dombrowski at Milan is he could threaten that Matt Siegel record in that breaststroke. He was right there last year with them. So we'll see what he does. But I really like Pinckney to come up and kind of get their – I think it might actually be their first top 10 in a long time.
Wow.
They got Tyler Ray returning, who is the defending champ in the fly. He was runner-up in the backstroke. If they can put together a couple scoring relays, they can get in that top 10. And they had quite a few guys that were at the meet that didn't score. So, Merrick Dickey, one who just missed scoring in the 500, finished 17th. Tyler's little brother Dylan, as a freshman, swam the IM in all 3 relays. So I like them to kind of make that next step and get into that top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, as we kind of wind it down here, as far as just for those who are out there, so much uncertainty, kind of especially right out there brewing. But it looks like they're just restricting, to family members. I know, David, we were talking a little bit before. That's kind of what's happening that you're seeing locally, at least.
Yeah, we're seeing, at the Bloomfield level, we found out today, I know some other schools as well, restricting like 4 spectators per athlete or maybe less. Obviously, masks are required. There's a few districts around here that are testing athletes every Sunday, once a week type of thing. And And it's the numbers are climbing, and a lot of the kids are almost like a snow day, waiting for virtual to roll in. But I know our swimmers and divers, and I think all the athletes around the state, you start calling these these virtual weeks, and all of a sudden there's uncertainty with seasons. And we were talking about starting to look at some big meets down the road, and just this week a couple meets got canceled. So I know we all want to be safe, but a lot of these kids want to get out there and compete and do some great stuff, and they've been training hard to get there. So it's want to do the right stuff, but you hate to see those meets disappear.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to a big Spartan invite at Battle Creek Lakeview, which traditionally has had some of the top Division II teams attending, and unfortunately, the meet's still happening, but instead of having 10 teams, we're going to be 4, and we're losing some really quality teams, and it's just people are scared right now, and the numbers keep climbing, and I know we've dealt with COVID in the last couple of weeks. We've had a few kids out, and we're talking to other coaches in the state who quarter of their team is out. So everybody's trying to make the best decisions for them, and some meets are canceled, some meets are just being redone in a different way. So wish everybody healthy times and fast swims, and
that's right.
Let's just get to the end of the season and get that state meet in. I don't want another 2020.
No, absolutely.
I don't think anybody does.
No, absolutely not. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we'll get this thing figured out so the boys can play. Whether there's people in the stands or not, let them play, to quote Bad News Bears from In Breaking Training movie there. So I'm dating myself. But all right, guys, well, that's our show this week. I want to thank Dexter head coach Michael Mchugh for joining us. Thank you so much for coming on. Great conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I look forward to it, and good luck the rest of the season with the show.
All right, thank you. David and I will be back next week. And remember, you can either watch or listen to the Poolside Podcast. The video is uploaded weekly on our website, social media, and State Champs TV YouTube channel. Or you can listen to the audio podcast by going to the platform of your choice, whether it's Apple or SoundCloud or Spreaker, Spotify, Stitcher, any platform you prefer. The show is uploaded on Wednesdays. So I'm Lorne Plants for David Zulkiewski. We appreciate you guys so much for joining us, and we'll talk next week.